Good morning. For those joining, curious how our sound is. Hello, Courtney. Beautiful Chamber of Commerce morning here in Kentucky. Stella. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Catherine. Hello, Tom. Good morning, Robin from New Hampshire. Sound is great. All right. Since the last time I did this, the Facebook has some sort of sound optimization thing. Good morning, Michelle from New York. I hope it's as pretty there as it is here. I mean, it's a serious chamber. Hey, Sandy. It is a serious Chamber of Commerce day here. Hey, Teresa, Ontario. All right. Hey, Wilma. Hey, Kathy. He is gorgeous. Wow, it is so wonderful to see so many friendly, familiar faces. I am so excited to have this. Stella, come here. Come here. We got lots of new friends, all sorts of new announcements. It is great to be here, Linda. Good morning, Kestrel. Texas, Ontario, all right. And Saratoga, all right. Hello option. Here, let's see if I can do this. Let's see, all right, now. There it is. Hey, Nancy. Hello, everybody. There's my friend Option. It is really good to see you. It is really good to see you. Too long, I know. But hopefully, we're gonna do this with some more frequency, which I know I've said for a while, but I think that I'm getting to a point where we can actually do so. Most importantly and most exciting is this guy right here. Stella! Psst. Hey! Sorry. I don't think y'all have met our dog. Oh, hello. This is Stella. Let's see if I can do this again. Where'd she go? Where'd you go, sweetheart? There you are. She is a sweet part of our family, and we really love having her. Morning, Nathan. And so we're going to try this with her. She's very good. Pop. Sorry. These two are their own machines. Here's Dad coming. Hey, Dad, you want to... Sorry. There you go. Welcome to the dog show. Behind me, hey, Pat. Stella. As you can see, will you move them that way?
Come on, you dog.
As you can see, Aloha West and Option are not always used to the dog party, but here at Millridge, everybody's having fun. So here's Dad, just walked up, and these two dogs are quite entertaining and quite happy. And Aloha West, what do you think about all this? So this is, hello Bob from Woodbine. This is the main star of the show, and I have not done personally a virtual tour to introduce y'all to him. Out of curiosity, I know a number of y'all have seen him and met him in person, and hopefully we've got some, new viewers and participants today. But the hope today is to introduce y'all to Aloha West. Introduce you. Ultimately, we're going to walk back from the Stallion area back to barn 7, where we have our first Aloha West foal. So for those who don't know, Aloha West is a Breeders' Cup Sprint Champion winning son by Hardspun out of a mare named Island Bound. Island Bound is a son of Speightstown, and so for those who know racing, you may be familiar. Speightstown is one of the more prolific sires and is a son of our longtime stallion, Gone West. So Gone West was really, truly a breed impact, a breed shaping stallion through his son Speightstown. In England, he had Zaphonic as well. Hey, Billy. And so so Aloha West, he was born in Maryland. He was then raised for a number of months, maybe years, here in Lexington at our friends at Nursery Place, the Mayer family. And then he was sold to a wonderful judge and friend named Ben Glass on behalf of Gary and Mary West, which is where the West comes from his name. He was sent out as a 2-year-old, demonstrated a lot of ability, was sent to California with Bob Baffert, where the West trained a number of horses from early days Buddha to most recently Game Winner, who was champion 2-year-old maybe 3 years ago. Anyway, so he went to Bob Baffert. Bob really loved him, thought he was an outstanding horse, had a number of bullet breezes. So a bullet breeze is when it's the fastest breeze on the day. And so he had a number, so how you can kind of demonstrate if, every day at racetracks across the country, there are a number of horses that are exercising the same distance. And so you'll have, and the fastest of those, number one gets the bullet next to its time. So we call it a bullet breeze. And it's demonstrates ability, certainly, and it's certainly for a young horse, and certainly in a program like Bob's, who gets them fit and happy, and certainly knows how, better than most, how to capture and nurture that speed. So Aloha West ends up, he gets some shins. So that's like, if you've ever had like shin splints. So Bob backs off of them, and then he and then he ends up coming back into training, and then he develops a very slight fracture in his fetlock. That is then sends him to Kentucky. He then goes to have it repaired, and he comes back, and because there was a gentleman who trained with the West for a number of years named Wayne Catalano, also trained Aurelius Bell, and the winner is and the winner is who was Oscar Performance's first winner, Wayne Catalano. Big fan of Wayne and friend of the farm. Anyway, after surgery, Rudin Riddle, Wayne Catalano takes over training, and over in a year, he breaks his maiden at Oaklawn and ends up culminating at the Breeders' Cup Sprint Championship, where he catches Dr. Shivel right on the line, and it was unbelievable. Earl! Okay, all right. This is Earl, the newest member and arguably favorite member of the Bell family. So for those of you who've seen his race, it was truly spectacular, the Breeders' Cup Championship. The Wests owned him through his maiden win, and then they sold him to our good friends Aaron Wellman and the Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. Aaron and his team have done and just do an unbelievable job. We don't want him to roll next to that, next to the fence, because then he is likely to maybe get not roll all the way over. So anyway, so we're going to. It's so funny, they all end up like pawing and making a little mud hole right near corners and fences. So, but if we can avoid him doing it, and certainly as we have, hey. There you go.
They like to roll in the dirt.
Absolutely. So you see he has chewed up or like pawed up that little dirt spot right there, which is, in this whole 2 acres that he has to play in, of all the places to make dirt, that is not the perfect one. How about that? So for those who have visited Mill Ridge, this is probably repetitive, but for those who haven't, just want to kind of reintroduce myself, but also share. We're standing here in our Stallion area. The farm is kind of broken up into a couple sections. You've got at the beginning of the farm the yearling area, where our yearlings are. You get to the middle here in the Stallion area, and then hey Lisa, and then we progress back to the broodmare section. So this is our breeding shed. For those who have visited, amen Nathan, for those who have visited, this is where we do our share our tours and experiences here. So we have an 11:30 this morning, and Ren has just arrived to welcome our guests. Walking through this, when we started doing tours with Horse Country, we set up our grade 1 winners wall. So for those who, I think when we first started, we were probably at 34 or 36 grade. 32. I was going to say 32, but we're probably about, hey Joey, so we're probably somewhere in the low 30s. We're now actually at 38. We sold a horse named Tuz, who won the sprint race in Dubai earlier this month. He's an Oxbow son who was sold to a gentleman, I want to say Russian or of some Eastern European, Russian or Kazakhstan, out of maybe the second to last day of the sale for $7,000. And the horse has now won, now after he won the Golden Shaheen, he's won, 4 or 5 million. I want to say they called him the Russian Secretariat maybe, or something like that. It's a pretty wild story. I think he's 7 or 8 years old. So he was born in 2016, which is pretty remarkable, his longevity, and that he's competed at the highest level in the world. So, yep.
Tell him how hard it is to get a grade 1 winner.
So for those who don't also know about, grade 1s and the grade scaling, Dad's asked me to share about how hard it is to win a grade 1. So, the grade 1s are the highest level and quality of racing. So when a horse is born, we estimate it has less than 1% chance of winning a grade 1 race. And here at Millridge, oh wow, Kristen, you're back for more. That's amazing. You had a tour yesterday and back again. I love it. That's a high compliment. So anyway, horses are born, they have less than a 1% chance of winning a grade 1, and horses at Millridge, so far have been, since 2000, have been clipping along at, nearly a 2% rate, or 2% chance rather, of winning a grade 1. So it is certainly the scorecard we keep, but also, we're in the business and, to help fulfill our clients' dreams, and part of that is obviously the highest dream is winning a grade 1 race. So we've walked back to Oscar Performance, our Millridge raised stallion, who has just been such an incredible gift, and so incredibly proud of him. We moved he shifted about 6-7 months ago. Now we shifted his paddock back here so this is kind of the back section of our stallion area. He has been in one of our oldest stallion barns, was built by my great-grandfather in the 1960s with my grandmother, and he has a penchant, or Oscar Performance has a habit that he's had since he was in training, of like leaning on a wall. When he was in training, he would lean on the webbing. So the webbing is what you call what's in front of the stall in the barn. They call it the webbing, and he would lean and kind of sit on that webbing. And so then he came to Millridge, and he would lean in the corner of this stall, and ultimately he shifted the walls. I think in part because it was a stall that was built in the 1960s. So anyway, with his hips, he kind of like back into it and just kind of lean into it. So he actually like separated the walls, which is pretty crazy. And he did this, mid last fall, and so we moved him back to this barn, as much as anything as a holding place, and then in the wintertime it's not a good time to do a lot of concrete work, and so and then the breeding season started, and haven't wanted to kind of interrupt his routine in the middle of the breeding season. So he's got a new perspective. The field that you see behind him, and sorry, he's distracted right now. So the field behind him are foaling mares. So that's our foaling barn, that field. Come on, bud. Come That's our foaling barn, and so there was some action when we first arrived or walked up, where the mares that were in the foaling barn were having a little. You call it a jog, but if when you're as pregnant as they are, I don't know if that's the right terminology for it. So anyway, he's over there, and hopefully he comes back this way. So as you'll recall, when we first started doing virtual tours, Oscar Performance had just kind of retired, and we just were having his first crop of foals here at Mill Ridge, and he was a big feature of the farm and of our virtual tours, meeting his babies, and then ultimately his yearlings. Come on, bud! Oscar Performance was a horse that we raised for Mr. and Mrs. Ammerman. Mr. and Mrs. Ammerman have been longtime clients of the farm, and are living the dream at the moment with one of their homebreds by Oscar Performance named Endlessly, who most recently won the Jeff Ruby Stakes, which is a great play on words. For those who know, Jeff Ruby's is a steakhouse, and so the Jeff Ruby Stakes is spelled S-T-A-K-S. So anyway, that Endlessly is from Oscar Performance's second crop of horses. So Oscar's oldest babies are 4. In that 4-year-old crop, he had And the Winner Is, who was his first winner, and then his first graded stakes winner. We're going to walk towards the other side and see if we can get his attention. I hope it's clear enough you can see. He's taking in, there are a couple mares that are on the hill that we're actually going to walk by, and so that's what he is taking in. So anyway, so in his first crop he had And the Winner Is, who's going back into training, has gotten some time off and is going back into training. And then he had a filly, Red Carpet Ready, who was just recently 3rd in the Grade 1 Madison. For those who watched, it was pretty remarkable, her toughness, because she was on the inside in the 1 hole in a 1-turn race, and so she needs to, her strategy is to get out of the gate and try and establish position on the rail. What makes it difficult is that all of her competition is trying to do the same thing, and so she ends up vying for the lead. They go very fast, and she ends up being the best of the rest, but she'd certainly exhausted most of her energy in trying to establish position and vying for the lead. And ultimately the winner, who was awesome, Elvira Star, I think is her name, Elvira Star, ultimately she overtook Red Carpet Ready, and then Vava was another filly who closed from the back, and the race really ends up setting up very well for them because of the speed that had been demonstrated. Great to see you, Sandy. We'll see you very soon, and I promise we're going to do these with some more regularity. I mean, I can't tell you how meaningful it is to have developed relationships with so many virtually during the pandemic, and then to have met you all and furthered the relationship over the past few years has been really incredible. So that's right. Red Carpet Ready would have been a feature of the of some early day tours. So Red Carpet Ready is in the 4-year-old crop, and now Oscar Performance has continued to really do well. His offspring are winning. His offspring are winning, good races on big days. He has, as a percentage, because we're all in kind of the percentage game, right? He has the highest percentage of stakes winners to foals, graded stakes horses to foals. He is leading of all sires in his percentages, in relative to kind of the highest and the best races, which is quite something. I mean, truly, just a remarkable blessing. So we are so appreciative of Oscar. He is such a cool horse, and what's interesting, I think, what he had, the market, which is, fellow breeders and, buyers, etc., would have, because Oscar was the best 2-year-old on the turf, he's the best 3-year-old on the turf, and he sets a world record at a mile on the turf at 4. And so breeders would have suspected that his horses would only be turf horses, which, is great. There's great racing on turf. There's great stakes on turf. But a lot of our racing in America is on the dirt. And so it somewhat, if you thought he was just a turf horse, then it would somewhat limit, you know, him as a stallion. Hello, handsome. Hello, handsome. I mean, if he's just not gorgeous. Now, interestingly, what ended up happening was that when early breeders came to see him, they were like, you know, he reminded them of a horse named Northern Dancer, who's the most influential stallion in the world, without question. You know, most lines trace back to Northern Dancer. So when people who knew Northern Dancer met and saw Oscar Performance, Oscar Performance really reminded them of Northern Dancer. And so it's pretty, you know, that's when we're not suggesting that he will be as prolific as Northern Dancer, but it was an interesting observation from a physical standpoint, because Northern Dancer's offspring excelled both in dirt and turf. So anyway, he's going to have a roll conveniently right also near the fence. You know, it's pretty amazing. I mean, it's every bit of 70 degrees right now. And you know, all these guys and gals, all the horses here are just loving this sunshine. Sunshine, spring grass, you know, it's just, I mean, look, everybody's rolling.
Stella's having a roll.
Everybody's rolling.
Everybody's rolling.
And no doubt it is helping to, you know, get your winter coat off, because, you know, we find that horses really thrive. Like, you know, people who have, you know, show horses, they'll oftentimes, which makes sense, they'll typically blanket them and keep, and that way they keep their coats, you know, thin and kind of, you know, ready. For us, because our horses, you know, we'll keep them outside, turned out, we won't oftentimes blanket them. In fact, I don't know if he's had a blanket since coming here, to be honest with you. He'll go in at nighttime, so that kind of keeps him out of the weather. But he doesn't really love his blanket. So all that to say, you come into the summertime, you start to get warm, and as they start to shed out, you know, the rolling, the moving, etc., you know, he just really feels good and scratches his back. Joe, you're absolutely right. Into Mischief has taken on that role of Northern Dancer here in the modern era. I mean, he has been an unbelievable stallion. So we're gonna walk back now. So this is our foaling barn. This field here, it's called our Poe field. If you can imagine, backing up kind of a little bit of history for those who aren't aware, when my grandmother started our farm, and let's see, do you guys partner with the University with their horse programs? So Fancy Face is actually racing. She is in Ziarati is her name, and she's racing at Aqueduct in the next 3 days, because I saw her in the entries just this morning. So Ziarati is also known as Fancy Face. She is racing very soon. Pistol, he was in California, and last I heard that they were giving him some time off because he was, as you'll recall, such a big, growthy horse. And so he'd made a start, and it was kind of even, I guess is what I'd say, maybe 2 starts. And then I think they were going to give him some time off to try and grow into his body. So Pistol's new name, Gun Runner Intensify. Gosh, what is his new name? Huh. You remember the Pistol's new name?
Yeah, I can't recall.
But we'll drop that in. Okay, great, Penelope. Look at you. Yeah, so Ziarati's in race 8 at Aqueduct today. Fancy Face. So, so on the history, so my grandmother started the farm with her father. This was the furthest land away from Lexington. Acero, that's right. Thank you. Off of his farm, which was Beaumont Farm. So my great-grandfather farmed a farm called Beaumont Farm. Mill Ridge was carved out as the furthest piece away from the city of Beaumont. And it was named Mill Ridge because it's the ridge line. So you see, this is actually probably one of the higher points on the farm. It's the ridge line above above Bowman Mill Road. Bowman Mill Road is our address, and Bowman Mill Road was originally there was originally a mill there off of the South Elkhorn Creek. This land was all originally, you know, predating that, was, or at least for, you know, as it was being civilized, I guess, or as it was being, you know, farmed and developed, given to a gentleman named Admiral Bowman. And Admiral Bowman had, for his service in the Revolutionary War, so here we're talking 1780s, was given, you know, maybe 10,000 acres of land here in Lexington. And actually, the Bowman family built an old home called Helm Place, and then from there ended up building 5 other homes, and those homes are all still active. And Helm Place was sold about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years in November, and the family that bought it is redoing it, which is a tremendous blessing. This may not be the most scenic part of our tour. This is our brush pile, but necessary. As you can see, we generate a lot of brush. It also ends up being habitat for a lot of different creatures like coyotes and others. So that is giving our dog friends a tremendous treat. And the pasture that we're kind of walking up towards, this big field here, is where Beth, my wife, wants to do a wildflower meadow to, again, cultivate some more habitat, which would be amazing. We are hoping to plant said meadow in the next few weeks. So if you come to the farm, or if you see this big, you know, kind of churned up dirt, I guess what we do is we till it and then let it rest and get up any, you know, weeds, and then we spread wildflower seeds and milkweed plugs, and hopefully it becomes a monarch way station in this space. And thinking back to how the farm was started, you know, again, the farm was laid out by my grandmother and her father in 1960. He passes away in 1962, and she is left with 280 acres, 4 mares, and 1 barn. Well, 1 barn, and then the 2 stallion barns that Oscar has, you know, leaned into, if you will. And so from there, my grandmother started the farm. One of those mares ends up producing Sir Ivor, who is the, you know, the best horse in England, champion 2-year-old, champion 3-year-old, first American bred sold at auction to win the Epsom Derby. And the farm was up and going. But at that time, this area right here was actually a pond, if you can imagine, just how land and things change. So this was a pond, and I believe that the idea was that they were going to build a little cabin back here for my my Uncle Reynolds and maybe my dad and whomever was going to have this
We
nice.
tried.
Yeah. Oh, they did. You did try, and
We did try.
they did try,
We did, yeah.
and build a cabin that is no longer here. So anyway, what was once a cabin site over this beautiful vista is next going to iterate to become a wildflower meadow. So that's the goal. We are walking up these mares. We've had nearly 70 foals so far this year, and have about 20 or so left to go. So we'll probably foal in the around 90 or so foals, and these are the last moms to foal. So you can see, checking everything out. It's funny, there's another group of them on the far side over there. So it hey ladies, who we got? Hey, they're like, you guys, Art of Law, nice gal factor. Hey sweetheart, how are you? I know I should quickly be able to tell you who this one is with all of her chrome, but I can't quite remember. We've been very lucky. When we first started doing our tours, we were just on perfect impression. That's right. We first started doing tours. We were on our main farm. Look at this guy. I mean, I get it. I appreciate my dad has such affection for him, but we laugh in our family that all the previous dogs, are rolling in their you know, heavenly beds at the idea of this new dog and his ability to not only get in the house, because as we were growing up, none of our dogs were allowed in the house, but not only get in the house, but also get into the bed. So it's pretty funny and remarkable, but also a great statement of the joy that animals bring to our lives. So, so how the farm has changed, again, we had a pond and a cabin there. Our grandmother bought about 160 acres in the mid 80s, and it was adjacent, and then established and relayed the farm out to the how you know it today and how you've seen it today. That time we had barns 1 through 7, and was laid out by the head of landscape architecture at the University of Kentucky named Horst Schock. And Horst, my grandmother laid out, and the idea was that you wouldn't see roads crisscrossing the farms, and that you would see just rolling pasture and uncertainty of where fields came and went. And actually, you know, this is not a view that we often come to, this corner, but it's pretty demonstrative of their idea, right? And it's really spectacular. On the hillsides, if you can make them out, are the red barns, and those are our neighbors, Godolphin, Sheikh Mohammed of Dubai, and used to be John and Bell Farm. But between the grass and the tree and the birds, it's a pretty spectacular day. So we're gonna wander this way, and we're gonna wander this way and go and see Will of the West and her Aloha West foal. So to speak to Aloha West, hey Dad, you wanna, thanks. So Aloha West, when he retired to stud, came here, and with Eclipse we syndicated him. So that's a process of selling shares in him. We sold a number of shares to some phenomenal shareholders, trying to, you know, relive the magic and replicate as best we could the magic that that Oscar Performance has so generously has created. So with those shareholders, when you buy a share, you're in the first 4 years of the Stallion's stallion career, you're entitled to 2 breedings a year. And so we hope to attract shareholders. Actually, we'll do we hope to attract shareholders who believe in the horse and want to support the horse, and in doing so, we'll breed to the horse for a few years. And so, actually, so we moved her. This is Willa, Dad. So here is Willa the West and her Aloha West foal. I mean, I don't know what kind of name we're going to do there. West Squared. There was a great racehorse by Gone West named West by West. So Willa the West is a daughter of Gone West out of a mare named Willa May, I think, or Willa Joe by Tim Tam. So it's an older family. Willa the West herself is
actually out of Maryland also.
Maryland family too. Willa the West is 19 maybe? 19. She's 19 years old. And so she gave us this lovely foal, big leggy foal. We're just so excited to have her. She's got nice chrome. Let's see, we're gonna wander this way, see if we can attract her over. After foaling, Willa the West got a little colicky, actually quite colicky. We sent her to the clinic. We're so lucky here in Lexington to have some of the best equine medicine and practitioners in the world. And so Willa the West got very colicky, had to go to the clinic to get, you know, supervised care. So so colic is, you know, I guess a catch-all for stomach issues, stomach problems, stomach ache, belly aches. Horses' digestive tract is only one direction, unlike dogs and humans where we can, you know, have 2 directions. So horses have just a single direction that their digestive tract goes, and it kind of limits their ability to remedy things like, you know, a lot of gas or a variety of different, you know, things. And so colic ends up being a catch-all for, you can have like a gas colic where they just have a great discomfort in their stomachs and are not able to kind of expel it. Horses, and please, there are probably many of you that are, oh, Susan, we can't wait to see you. Drive safe. There are probably many of you who are better experts on this than I, but within colic, horses have to always kind of be grazing to keep their digestive tract moving. They're different than, I guess cows probably have the same thing, but cows have 3 stomachs, so their digestion is totally different because they will eat and then almost like ferment their grass. Horses have to kind of keep it moving. So all that to say, Will of the West got colicky last week, and so she's looking, actually, I mean, her coat and everything that she's been through, I mean, she was in basically the ICU for 72 hours and just came back a few 2 days ago. So it's been, we're really, really excited that she is here, Willa and foal, and that Will is actually looking as well as she is. Oh wow, Penny, that's awesome. But so this Aloha West foal, so with our shareholders, I'm sorry to bounce around, but hopefully the thread maintains. We've been and have just some incredible breeders as shareholders, and they have, to a person, been so enamored with their Aloha West foals. This foal is, a lot, I think this foal has got a ton of leg for the mare. Will of the Wests in the past haven't been as tall and lanky as this guy is, or gal is, sorry. And she's just, so, look at that face. Hey, cutie. Hey. A lot of the other foals that we've seen around town, in Lexington, and photos we've seen of those in Virginia and Maryland, all have a lot of bone. I wouldn't say that this foal's, best feature is its quote unquote bone, meaning kind of the width of bone that they have. But I think for this mare, for Will of the West, it's a lovely foal, which has a lot of leg, which is an attribute that, that we were hoping to get. And look at that impression. Hi. We've been so pleased with the foals that actually that people are breeding back to the stallion, and they're breeding other mares to the stallion, and it's just been really exciting. So Hard Spun was, I don't think he was actually champion sprinter, but he might have been. He ran, I mean, talk about a throwback horse. He ran in the Derby, and then he ran in sprint races. He ran the Classic. He was just, what's that? Yeah, and then he got beat by Street Sense in the Classic, which was quite something because Street Sense had won the Derby. But in between, he won he didn't win the Vosper. He won a Grade 1 sprint that was either 6 furlongs or 7 furlongs. So a furlong is 1/8 of a mile, and a Classic race, the Kentucky Derby, is 1.25 miles. So anyway, so Hard Spun, incredible speed. He's a son of Danzig, who is as influential, Danzig being a son of Northern Dancer. Danzig is the father of Danehill, of Warfront. And so Hard Spun was similarly one of Danzig's best sons. Hard Spun has, doesn't have a ton of stallions, sons at stud yet. He's got a couple, but they're just kind of getting started. And then being out of the Speightstown mare, Speightstown is the father of Munnings and Charlatan, and a number of, stallions and stallion prospects. So from a pedigree standpoint, Aloha West has, great bloodlines. He was a very tough, very, exciting racehorse, tremendous will to win. And his first foals have come out and have been very popular and very, a great, we live every day in this business in hope, and the horses that we've seen, and the foals we've seen, give us a lot of hope for Aloha West future. And we look forward to having a few more Aloha West foals here at the farm and bringing you all more opportunities to develop a relationship with them, because we think that they're pretty exciting because, oh, I love that, Mike. So Mike is actually he loves his Aloha West foal,
Nice.
And so much that he's bringing back to him.
I love that.
I love that.
Thank you.
That's I mean, that's a.
Tell them about the incentive.
And actually, so the second crop, so that's where Aloha West is. The second crop for stallions is a very difficult year. Every year there's a new crop, and so new, sexy, commercial is kind of where people are drawn. I think it's, again, we're in the business of selling dreams, and so the dream of what a stallion could become is very intoxicating for the market. I'm going to walk over here and show you and see Zia and her baby. So this is Fancy Face's mom. So I thought we'd end our tour today with Zia's mom and Zia's little brother. Zia's little brother. Yep, by Catholic boy. So anyway, because the second year and second crop is oftentimes very challenging, there have been a number of incentives and people, doing all sorts of crazy deals to breed the second year stallions, most notably free seasons or buy one, get one free. And that's fine if that's what people are doing, because they'll do whatever they can to, get mares to their stallion. But from our standpoint, we feel like it's not quite fair because you're breeding. Stella, get out of here. Get out of here. Sorry, Stella was wanting to come out and see Zia. So, look at this guy. So anyway, so if you're going to you have a free season, that's fine this year. But then if you make the stallion, and the stallion in 3 or 4 years, when the runners are on the track, are really good runners, then you're going to have to pay market rate to breed to that horse, and that just doesn't feel like it's aligning the incentives right. So we're doing if you breed to Aloha West and a registered breeder, and the resulting foal wins a maiden special weight race or a maiden race, then you will get to breed for free the next year. And as we said, it's like, hey, heaven forbid he has 40 maiden special weight winners. If we did that, then we'd have to give 40 seasons away, but he would also be, the champion's first crop sire. So it feels like it's really aligning the incentives with each other. So we're really excited about that, and it's been a great tool to help recruit more mares to Aloha West, and then hopefully those mares will generate more foals and more future champions, and the dreams keep going. So here is Zia. Zia's first Catholic boy won at Keeneland opening weekend. It was awesome. Won a mile and a distance turf race. It was so proud of him. Zia is owned by yes, this is Fancy Face's brother. The father is a Catholic boy. So Zia is owned by the LaPinta family, who raised Catholic boy, and we bought Zia, the mare, to breed the Catholic boy because it seemed on paper, meaning on pedigree, that it would be a nice combination. And so the first foal of that hope was a winner at Keeneland opening weekend. So if are there any questions, we'll probably do just a few more minutes, and then would love to have to answer any questions, or well, I guess maybe the first question is, when are we going to do this again? And hopefully we'll certainly do it again, maybe next week. Maybe we'll try and do them weekly up till the Derby, because we haven't really even talked about the Derby yet, and kind of our Derby weekend. And I'm just so excited and proud. Our team here at Mill Ridge, we've been really blessed to have some, exciting prospects for the Derby and Derby weekend, including a number of Oscar Performance foals and a number of other horses that we've raised here. So, yep.
Will you shout out Steve Bick was kind enough to beforehand?
Absolutely. If those of you who are listening to the radio show, there's an amazing radio show done by a gentleman named Steve Bick. Steve's been doing a radio show on Sirius and podcasts. You can stream it live. He was so nice to interview Dad right before this to help plug this virtual tour. So thank you all so much, and thank you, Steve, who was so kind to hopefully generate a little bit of buzz. I know. Seize the Gray, did you see? So Seize the Gray, for those who don't know, is a horse that we raised here at Mill Ridge out of the Mare Smart Shopping. My racehorse, bought him at Saratoga. He's such a cool horse, and he was, trained by Dwayne Lucas, coach, and was teasing the Derby, but then yesterday worked a bullet at Churchill Downs, which was awesome. And so hopefully, who knows, he might run Derby week or maybe the following week. So anyway, amen, Tom. Vic is the best. He is so good, and he is so respected, and just really, we as an industry are so lucky to have him. So with that, we'll leave you with a little moment of zen, and really look forward to seeing y'all in the next over the next few weeks, and then we'll develop a little bit of a plan on schedule going forward. So y'all take care, and thank y'all for tuning in and spending your morning with us.